Wall Street floats a 100 basis point Fed hike as inflation stings. Pockets of Wall Street are raising the possibility that the Federal Reserve ought to visit extreme lengths on Wednesday and try and manipulate the most up-to-date U.S. inflation in 4 decades. While the consensus expectation for the USA's central bank's interest price growth at this week's meeting is a 0.5 percentage point, better than anticipated patron fee index information final Friday caused 2 banks, Barclays, Lon, BARC, and Jefferies, to revise their calls for the ability of 75 foundation points. Now, some are suggesting a full percentage hike is at the table. The Fed's trying to erase any belief that they're at the back of the curve, said Stephen Englander, worldwide head of G10 FX studies at Standard Chartered (OTC) SCBFF Bank. 50 was the large round quantity 6 months in the past. Meanwhile, 75 is a very middling type of hike. So the Fed would possibly say, look, if we want to expose commitment, let's simply do 100. As the Fed tries to bolster its credibility on inflation, it is able to reach for an extra drastic increase if it's pressured to illustrate a Volcker moment, Englander said. He became referring to Fed Chairman Paul Volcker, who crushed inflation with a sequence of historical fee increases, beginning in 1979. With that opportunity, Englander predicts there's a 10% danger of a 100 basis point boom at the Wednesday assembly, along with his baseline nonetheless a 0.5 percentage factor boom. Fed-aided swaps at the moment are pricing in a single 75 basis point pass over the next 3 policy meetings, up from much less than 350 basis factor moves priced before Friday's inflation records. Around 57 foundation points at the moment are priced into Wednesday's decision, or 28% threat of a 75 foundation point pass. Further out, the terminal fee is now peaking simply under 4% level with the aid of the middle of subsequent 12 months, up from 3.35% before CPI records. That's brought about a wave of recent bets against short-term treasuries on expectation for better yields. The subject matter of inflation has become all-consuming. Amazingly enough, I don't forget this being the case inside the 70s, Englander recalled. Inflation is all and sundry talks about these days. The pandemic and the Ukraine war, he delivered, have all however evaporated from conversations about the economy. The most effective issue is inflation. Once the acute, 50 foundation points has now become the expectation. The Fed has been remarkably a success in having 50 the baseline, Englander said. 50 was the neutron bomb even 6 months ago. Yet to a few economists, the chances that the Fed opts for an 100 basis point hike stay very low. I'd say even a 1% chance might be generous, stated Jonathan Miller, an economist for Barclays, who is on the group of the financial institutions strategists who revised his forecast to 75 points on Friday. With inflation pressures still largely spurred through deliver shocks in preference to an outright spiral, the Fed gained it in all likelihood be moved to kill the financial system, to forestall it, according to Miller. Even so, a 0.75 percentage factor hike is Barclays' baseline for the Wednesday assembly. They already signaled they might do 50 in June and July, so deviating from that could suggest they may be panicking, stated Philip Mary, senior U.S. strategist at Rabobank. He's watching for 50 foundation points for Wednesday. At the identical time, bond markets also are flashing fears that this competitive tightening will weigh on monetary growth down the road. On Monday, a closely watched part of the USA yield curve inverted on developing problem that greater competitive charge hikes will take a bigger toll on economic increase. A document low analyzing in purchaser self-assurance on Friday hasn't helped the growth outlook either. The hazard is that if the Fed goes to some distance in hiking, that can purpose an abrupt slowing that requires an approximately face, Englander said. It's worse to look as if you have to go into reverse, or have that speculation emerge in any respect. Slow and steady regularly works higher. Copyright 2022 LP.